Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Yay.
This is my friend, Michelle. Kathy can't be with us today. She is vacationing in good old Naples, Florida, which I'm in Florida too, but I'm not on vacation. Although one would say life is a vacation now that I'm retired and living in Florida. So Kathy couldn't be here. So Michelle agreed to jump in and be the co-host for today. So give her a warm welcome, that is.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to get us to the Living Well and Wise page, which I'm at, but I was seeing something else. All right, so there we are. See us both. And so what that means is if you are watching on Living Well and Wise, you can feel free to comment and we will try to notice those comments. I'll have to look down at my iPad and answer any questions that you have. But we really prefer that you jump in with us and that you join in on the conversation. Today's going to be all about loving yourself through the lens of mental and emotional health. And this is our third week in the series. Last week, we talked about physical health and what you do for your body. And the week before was just sort of an overview. And as Kathy and I did the research for the overview, we found there was so much information that we couldn't possibly tackle it in 1 hour chat. So we've been breaking it down. And even that, last week, there's so many different aspects to physical health, as we all know, that we will be revisiting different topics as we go along. But today is all about mental and emotional health. And again, there's so much out there. There's so much research out there, reasons why you should put yourself first, right?
Right. Nothing else flows unless you're first, right? Or it flows the wrong direction.
Right.
That's for sure. Right.
And whoops, I don't know what I'm sharing. I stopped the share. I wanted to share a graphic and I didn't click on it, but this graphic, here we go.
Right.
Put your own oxygen mask on first. That's what they tell you when you're on a plane, right? Yes. And hopefully you never have to do that on a plane. But in life, you have to take care of yourself first, because otherwise you're no good to anybody else. And I think I'm learning that slowly as we go along, because when I first moved down here to Florida, I was my mom's caretaker. I didn't live with her. My dad was the primary caretaker, but he was sick himself. And so I was at their beck and call to help and take care of them and all of that. And so I did put them first. And then when my mom passed away last April, my dad I became his caregiver in a way, or support system. He was fairly independent then, had to have another surgery this summer. And so I'm still there for him. He's recovering now in order to have another surgery, hopefully this summer. So I'm always taking care of other people, and my husband, I fret about him all the time, but you have to take care of yourself or you're no good to anyone else. Plus, you need to be that example for the people in your life, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, they're not going to take care of themselves. So put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yay.
So with the mental and emotional health, we're going to go back to Dr. Axe, and we've talked about him and shared that link several times, that he's the one who kind of broke it down into 5 different areas of your life. And so what he says is, what are you doing to benefit the health of your mind? Mental self-care is just as important as physical or social self-care, because it influences your psychological well-being. And we all know that our brains can really mess with us, right? What we say to ourselves, what we think.
Right. So true. so true.
Yeah. So according to the Bradley University, I'm going to quote this, the average age onset of anxiety in America is 11 years old.
Ow.
11.
Ow. Yes.
That's crazy. These days, when children should be scared of monsters and made up mayhem, they are scared instead of the chaos in their minds. And they're just kind of gone crazy here. So this is something that is truly important, that we have to start paying attention to our mental health. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
This is Michelle. She's filling in for Kathy today.
Yes, I'm Kathy Jr. or Senior.
Kathy Jr. Okay.
Yeah, Kathy's she's enjoying her time in Naples, and she was on her way to visit somebody in a different part of the state, and they're going boating today. So she said she might pop on, but I don't know. If she's
on a boat, my self-love is going to go down the drain quickly.
Yeah, I'm so glad she's in Florida. I hope on her way back, she kind of stops and has lunch before she drives back. But she's coming down to the Villages, and she and Mary and I are going to get together when she does that.
Oh, cool. Well, we're getting snow, and it's maybe 30 here in Michigan. So I feel so bad for you guys.
I'm sorry.
Whatever.
I'm glad I moved. I was in Rochester, New York. I'm so glad that we moved.
You don't miss it?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I feel sorry for those who are still there.
Thank you.
People really embrace it and they love it. So
right. Yeah.
I have another graphic to share, which did I even bring it up? Let's see. Here it is. Are you seeing this? Am I in the right spot?
Not
yet.
I
didn't hit it yet. Hold on. Here we go.
Don't hit it.
There we go. I didn't hit the right button. So
oops, here we go.
So this was in a video that I'm going to show you a clip of this video a little bit later, but I kind of paraphrased it and stuck it in here. But why is it that when we have that mental anguish, people say, get over it, it's all in your head, right? We don't acknowledge those thoughts. And we wouldn't ever say that about something physical, right? Oh, get over it, it's all in your leg. We wouldn't say that, right? So we have to understand that what goes on in your head is real, and it's very real to that person. And it's even more important than your physical health, because your mental health can affect that physical health. If you're not, thinking straight, if you're being influenced by negative thoughts, it affects your whole body and your whole well-being. So you got to get that out of your head and, I don't know. That's not quite the wording, because if you get it out of your head, then we're not acknowledging it, right? But you do need to acknowledge what's going on in your head and take important steps to take care of that, nurture that and treat it just as you would a broken leg. There, I said it. I think I got it on track.
Yes,
there.
you did.
All right.
That was perfect. And I don't know how you can't agree with that, because if you don't take care of it, it just keeps going round and round and round and round in circles, right? That's when you don't sleep at night.
Right. And who hasn't been affected that way, right? Where you just
exactly.
You can't sleep at night because your head is thinking about all of these things.
Right.
You've got to take steps to take care of that. So,
speaking of heads, I was going to ask what you're diffusing back there.
I know. I totally forgot all about what I was diffusing.
I see your diffuser.
Yes, I love my lantern diffuser.
It's pretty.
I love my new white Aria, which I never bought an Aria before, and then we had this opportunity at the beginning of the month, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I love that one too.
I want one.
How it can go all day long.
That's on my dream list.
But I love my white lantern one. It's beautiful. Yeah. I used today's in Linda Loves Lavender. I posted Oriental Delight, and it has patchouli, sandalwood, ylang-ylang, and ginger.
Yum.
And it smells great. It's just really refreshing and uplifting. And I'm just like, yeah, it's supposed to be 1 ginger and 2 of the others, but I had some problems with some of my oils and lots went in. So I diffused a little bit of it last night and added more water. But it's really strong. It smells good.
Yes.
What you got?
Well, I'm kind of doing double duty. I have Clarity. It's great to clear my brain fog. And right before the class or this event, I put a couple drops in my hand and then breathe deeply about 3 times. And I am amazed how much my brain can think better. Everything becomes less foggy. Mm-hmm. So I am always amazed by Clarity. So I highly recommend it for brain fog. in the diffuser or inhaling. So
Yeah,
that's my
always a
tip.
good technique.
Yes,
there.
it's amazing. So
Mary, you got anything going today? Did you get your diffusers out yet? Did you unpack them?
Yes, I use my diffuser every night, but I didn't turn this one on because I was late.
I know. I do the same thing. It's like, well, you forget to do certain things, but
yes.
you'll get it going after this.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
All right. Back to our mental health conversation. Somebody is watching live with us. I just can't tell who it is. So welcome whoever's watching live with us. It might be Kathy just lurking behind.
That lurker.
So research exposes over and over again that stress can cause mental and physical distress, leading to health concerns. And stress can alter the way we sleep, eat, think, and treat ourselves. So Dr. Axe lists 5 things that he says that are helpful for your mental health. And then we're going to delve into more because, as I said, there was so much research there. But his 5 things: read an inspiring book. So I suppose it could be fiction, but more nonfiction, kind of that supportive self-care types of books would be really good, or just something of reading somebody else's story about their struggle and what they went through and how they got out of it. I think those types of books, it could just be an entertaining book just to free your mind from all of the craziness that's going on and escape, right? Limit your time on social media. And it helps you connect with other people, which is good, but too much of it can negatively impact you. One of the big things is if you're using social media at night, you're on your computer, you are, playing on your phone or whatever like that, that can affect how you sleep at night too. Plus, as we'll see, I think I talk about it a little bit later, what you view on social media can impact your self-love, your self-view, because then you start comparing yourself to other people or you see their life. And what you have to remember about social media is that while it may be based in some reality, some of it is total fiction. I mean, you've seen those pictures of people who supposedly have a perfect life. They put their perfect pictures up and you go, oh, I wish whatever it is, right? And it's all made up. People stage their life for you to see so that it makes you think that they have a beautiful life, right? It's not always true. So if you limit yourself on social media, then you limit your exposure to this fake beauty, this fake wellness, right? Number 3, it says use technology wisely. It's certainly possible to rely too much on technology, allowing it to take away from physical interactions and hobbies. So if you're always on the computer, you can get sucked in. I know that. I think I've said this a couple of weeks, I started making a list to kind of, not to say what I need to do for the day, but what I've done, so that I can say, oh my gosh, I was on Facebook for an hour and I didn't do anything. I was just scrolling and sucking in. And that goes back to number 2, that social media effect. But it also can eat up your time. And then it takes away from one-to-one contact, physical interaction with real people. So be careful about that. He also says spend time outdoors, and just there's amazing health benefits from being outdoors. He calls it what did they call it? Environment. He had a different word for it and I don't have it written down here, but earthing, that's what it was. Making contact with the earth, walking barefoot, getting your hands in the soil, doing some gardening. That is tremendous for physical health and mental health. And then finally, he says, find an emotional outlet. Okay, so whatever it is, maybe it's painting, gardening, sewing, or cooking, or Mary, you do a lot of crafting now, right? That's kind of a mental release for you. Do spend time doing what makes you joyful, right? All right. So that was a nice short list, but I was definitely looking for more. And it can be far easier to love other people because you only see what they give you. And when you're meeting with other people, don't you put your best foot forward, your best face forward? And we tend, and unless it's with the best, most intimate of friends, we don't let them see all of the chaos that maybe is in our lives or in our heads. So it's really easy to love other people because you're only seeing the best of them. But when you look inward, we are our own worst self-critics, you know, our own critics rather. And so we see all of these other things that other people don't see, that we negate in our lives, that we say, this isn't very good. I don't like this about myself. And so some of those ugly parts is what we focus on instead of practicing on what is good in our lives and what is good about ourselves. Right? We've all done that. How many people are, you know, feel like you're your own worst critic? You look in the mirror and all you see is the flaws. So self-love is the act of valuing your own well-being and overall happiness. It is an acceptance of unconditional support and caring for yourself, right? Unconditional love. We give that to our kids, our spouse, our parents, our pets, right? And we get that back from our pets too. That's, I love my kitties.
Unconditionally, by the way, right? No conditions. No conditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So we have to do the basics, and the very simple part, the very beginning of self-love is just caring for ourselves, making food when we don't feel like eating, showering when we don't feel like being clean, and even getting out of bed sometimes can be self-care, right? That you know you can't wallow in self-pity and be in bed forever. So you have to think of the person whom you love the most, right? Think about somebody that you really care for and ask yourself, what would you do for that person if they were having a bad day? And then you have to reflect it back to yourself, and you have to do those things for yourself. So love yourself as you love others, right? And we don't do that. We put ourselves last again. Where's that oxygen mask? Giving it to everybody else, but not giving it to yourself. So I wanted to share a brief moment from a TED Talk that I found. And gosh, oh golly gee, it might take me a moment to figure out how to do that because I didn't plan ahead for this one. So let me just find that TED Talk and see if I am set up at the right time. No. So I've got to get it set. So I only have that much time. Oh, he's going to talk. Stop talking.
That's into the day.
I said, stop talking. He's not being helpful to me.
See, but
stop it, guy. Stop it.
We cannot feel self with this.
He's got a nice accent. I think it's a German accent. All right.
We can't tell yet.
I'm there. Okay. So now what I have to do is come back to Zoom and share my screen. And you ladies are going to make sure that I'm doing this correctly, that you see everything. All right. Do you see that screen with the TED Talk with Mr. Guy? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to make him bigger for the moment, and we're going to listen to him a little bit.
Okay. 20 years of marriage and an extremely ugly divorce, was finally ready for her first date. She had met this guy online, and he seemed nice, and he seemed successful, and most importantly, he seemed really into her. So she was very excited. She bought a new dress, and they met at an upscale New York City bar for a drink. 10 minutes into the date, the man stands up and says, "I'm not interested," and walks out. Rejection is extremely painful. The woman was so hurt she couldn't move. All she could do was call a friend. And here's what the friend said. Well, what do you expect? You have big hips. You have nothing interesting to say. Why would a handsome, successful man like that ever go out with a loser like you? Shocking, right? That a friend can be so cruel. But it would be much less shocking if I told you it wasn't the friend who said that. It's what the woman said to herself. And that's something we all do, especially after a rejection. We all start thinking of all our faults and all our shortcomings, what we wish we were, what we wish we weren't. We call ourselves names, maybe not as harshly, but we all do it. And it's interesting that we do, because our self-esteem is already hurting. Why would we want to go and damage it even further? Right? We wouldn't make a physical injury worse on purpose. You wouldn't get a cut on your arm and decide, oh, I know, I'm going to take a knife and see how much deeper I can make it. But we do that with psychological injuries all the time. Why? Because of poor emotional hygiene. Because we don't incredibly loving brother. Now, what?
Sorry, I went back to the beginning. I wanted to stop sharing. Okay. What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh. I find
True.
it so relatable. So, I mean, can I just interject for a second?
Yeah, please.
I really lived this last night. A long story short, I'm dating for the first time in my life. And I went on like my 30th first date last night, you know, and social distancing still in Michigan, right? So we get to go in the restaurants now. So that's one good thing. We were stuck outside in the middle of winter in tents for a while. So that's always a fun date when you have to bundle up and sit outside and try not to freeze. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, we had conversed a little bit, very little, by the way. But anyway, you know, the first thing you want to hear is, "Oh, you look so pretty." Oh, this or that. You want to hear what you want to interject, or you want them to think what you're thinking about what you really want from them. Does that make sense?
You've put a lot of effort into getting ready, and
Correct.
so you want that acknowledgement.
Yes. And he started talking about himself, and I said, "You look so young for your age." So what does Michelle want to hear in return? You look really good too, right? Yes. You know, something like that. But of course I didn't get that. Didn't hear it. And as the night went on, and I thought, okay, I guess you're talking a lot about yourself and it's all about you, which is okay. I get it. Maybe you're nervous, whatever. So we ended on an okay note, but the bottom line is he would only buy one meal for both of us because he said, "I'm not that hungry. Are you hungry?" I said, "Yes, I'm starving." He said, "Well, let's just get one meal and share it." So I'm like, did you just not hear me? I'm starving. So bottom line, I went to Taco Bell on my way home in line for about 20 minutes, but I was still starving. And when I went to get my food, after all that time, the girl in the window said, "You look so pretty." And I almost started crying. And I thought, you know how much that means to me right now that I didn't hear all that time, but it just took that one little acknowledgement to make me feel that much better. So yeah, so it's such a mind game, right?
Right. And so that also goes back to helping other people through their journey, is just being kind, right?
Right.
And so, you know, you never know what your words are going to do. And she didn't know your whole history, but those words were simple enough, you know, say it, right?
It made my night.
You know, when hearing that story, all I can say is that he has his own baggage.
Right.
He's not looking for a relationship. He's looking for somebody to acknowledge him, because his, you know, self-worth or his self-esteem is shot. And so all he can do is focus on himself because he's needy. So it's okay. Just walk away from that, because you need, you know, you want somebody who's going to build a relationship. It's a back and forth, you know,
right?
Each other what they need. So,
but you also can't expect someone to say or think what you want them to either, right? That has to come from your own head. I am the one that's pretty. I am the one that's important. I am the one that got ready, right? So it's that whole, I'm not worthy enough to hear it from somebody else at that moment. So
and waiting for somebody to say it instead of saying it to yourself and saying,
correct,
you know, I look good, or asking for help. Okay, so you know, you could also be proactive in this situation and just change the conversation. you know, and maybe ask a question that would take him away from whatever his self-indulgent conversation is all about, but you know, something that you can share in. And so asking for that help, or what do you think of blah, 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 you know, and get him off that topic. Because a lot of times I know in dating situations, you just want to be on your best behavior and you don't want to cause waves, but you also have to self-advocate. So if he's rattling on, you know, change the subject.
Yes.
But something like that.
Well,
I know it's different. I can't, I wasn't there.
Yes, it's crazy. But I keep trying, and he did ask me out again. So I guess it ended okay, but I'm like, do I really want to go through that again? Or do I give somebody a second chance and think, okay, it's me, it's not him. I need to control my own emotions and my own self-worth, right? It's not up to him to do that.
You know, and you can say,
It's
well,
my
I
own
learned a lot about you last date. So let me tell you a little bit about, you know, and let's get on common ground or somehow, but
yeah, but
thank you for sharing that.
Sorry, we got off track, but yes.
No, we did not. We did not.
Okay.
All right. So connection between self-esteem and mental health. You played right into that, right? And we live in a world of perpetual low self-esteem, right? Even the people who seem like they have it all together, the braggarts of the world who you see up and they're like, look at me, I've got it all together. They are inside tearing themselves apart, right? It's an act. A lot of times, the louder you shout, the more doubt you have about who you are, and do you really deserve whatever it is that you are touting or that you have, right? And so from how we think about ourselves to how we think of others, when negative thoughts are generated either in our heads or through other comments, it negatively affects the way we end up feeling about ourselves. So here's a short list. 1, protect yourself. Only allow the right people to be present in your life. Get rid of the negative, right? Get rid of those people that shut you down, bring you down, or make you feel bad about yourself. You don't need that negative influence, right? Focus on need. So that's the hardest thing, right? Focus on accepting what you need rather than what you want. Get some therapy. It's no longer considered taboo. It's funny, I've been watching, what's the name of that series? For All Mankind, about, has anybody seen that? It starts in like 1969, early 70s, and it totally turns around the whole space race. So instead of Americans landing first on the moon, it's the Russians. And so the TV show, none of it is real after that, but it's kind of like you see certain elements that might be considered real, but most of it is all fictional. And one of the characters has a breakdown while he's on a moon, what do you call it? A space station on the moon. He's just been there too long and they haven't been able to get somebody to get back up there so that to relieve them and change places. And he gets a little batshit crazy. So he sees a therapist, and the negative connotation from everybody around him is like, oh my gosh, you got to stop seeing that. You're going to lose your job if they find out you're seeing a therapist. And there's such a negative connotation for that. But nowadays it's fairly common. I mean, a lot of people that I know have entrusted their lives to therapy, getting some help, talking it out with somebody who is trained to do so, because they can recognize certain patterns in your life and help you out of that, right? And give you the prompts and the thoughts to kind of get you out of a funk, right? And so it's no longer a taboo. So get that therapy. Be mindful is number 4, taking the time to be present in our own bodies. And that's really hard. So kind of just being in the moment. We said something last week. It's like, take time every day to be in the moment for just a moment. Just recognizing that this is where you are in life, and accepting that, right? Another way to do that is through meditation. People who practice self-love regularly tend to know what they think, want, and feel. And somehow I can't read this at all. It got highlighted and then the text is changed. I don't know what that says. By being mindful of who you are, you give yourself the opportunity to act on the knowledge you've gathered to make yourself feel better. So you really need to know your own needs in order to help yourself and your self-esteem and help you out of those little funks. And forgive yourself. We are really, really hard on ourselves. And another TED talk that I listened to this week was from Brene Brown, and she's got a lot of them out there. The thing about TED Talks is a lot of times they're repetitive. So they have the same script and they just change a little bit. So if you find one, you're pretty good. One of her main claims is this idea that shame is, I am bad, whereas guilt is, I did something bad. And you need to separate the two. Okay. You can have, hey, cat, get out of there. You can have guilt about something that you did and feel remorse about something, but the shame that you are bad, you have to kind of get over that. And separate you from the actions, right? Shame is highly, highly, highly correlated with addiction, depression, violence, aggression, bullying, suicide, eating disorders. Guilt, inversely, correlated with those things, is the ability to hold on something we've done or failed to do up against who we want to be. And it's incredibly adaptive. It's uncomfortable, but adaptive. So the idea is more accepting that, okay, I did something bad. I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to grow and move forward, rather than wallowing in that self-pity and that idea that I am bad. It's like, I made a mistake, and owning up to that. And there's a great book about growth mindset by Dr. somebody, wait a minute. Dr. Carol Dweck wrote this book about mindset, and a lot of it details different people and how they were successful because of their mindset. A growth mindset is one where you're going to get better, or you're going to take a negative situation. If you fail a test, you can say, well, gosh, now I know what I have to work on, and I can work on those elements and I can improve, right? Whereas a fixed mindset is more like, well, I'll never know that. I guess I'm a failure. And you don't grow from the situation. You don't grow from the event. And there's no room for success there, because you're always going to be feeling like you're stuck. I came across this book when I was teaching, but also as a gifted and talented educator. A lot of kids who are gifted have a fixed mindset. They feel like they were born with a certain amount of ability to think, and that if they fail, it's because they're just not smart enough. And then that produces that negative self-esteem. Whereas if you really work on that growth mindset and say, failure is just an opportunity to learn more. And you go back to Edison. How many times did he fail with the light bulb before he got it to work? He had a growth mindset, and he learned from every single failure in order to finally get to the success.
Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness he didn't give up.
I already showed you all the lights in this room.
Right, yes.
So this is a great book about mindset, and I would advise any parent to get this, because we can really help our own children's mental health by trying to get them to focus on a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. So you praise the effort, not the smarts. You must have worked really hard on that. I am so proud of how long you've been studying and working on that, you know, and praise the effort, not the smarts, because they can't control the smart. Okay. And so there's certain things that we can't control in ourselves, but we can work hard and overcome any deficits. So, all right, I'm going to get off of that because that was a tangent off. So,
it was a good tangent. I liked all that. It's so true, all of it. So yes. Sometimes you don't know it till you hear it, or you live it, and then you think, oh my gosh, it is a light bulb moment. Thank you, Edison.
I think we internalize a lot of this stuff too. We see it, we hear it, we read it, but we don't always apply it to ourselves until we see it again and it gets reinforced. So
yes, well, thank you for reinforcing.
What did Brene Brown say? Oh, this is about women's health now. I can bring home the bacon fried up in a pan and never let you forget you're a man. For women, shame is do it all, do it perfectly, and never let them see you sweat, right? There's a deodorant commercial or something about
yes.
that. Yeah. And she also talks about a perfume or something. She goes, I don't know how much perfume or deodorant that commercial sold, but I can guarantee you it moved a lot of antidepressants and mixed and anti-anxiety meds. So we put that own pressure on ourselves to be perfect and never let anybody see how hard we worked. We are demeaning our own self-esteem and our confidence, and we feel shame if we don't live up to our own standards that way. Shame for women is this web of unobtainable, conflicting, competing expectations about who we're supposed to be. And she says it's a straitjacket. So you got to talk to yourselves like you would talk to a friend, right? And so that gets into the subject of self-talk. Okay. Have you ever heard of that positive self-talk?
Yes.
Because, and I think it's something that we have to do in a very pronounced way. I can't think of the words I wanted to say there, so I'm making them up. We have to do it very consciously. That's what I mean. Because unconsciously, we're always feeding ourselves negative self-talk, right? And the damage that does is terrible. But you can counter that by practicing positive self-talk. And so you might have to just leave time of every day to give yourself a pep talk, right? Or count your blessings, or talk, like look in the mirror, and instead of seeing the negative, say, I look pretty good today, right? Or seeing the things that other people can't see, like what's in your heart, what's in your nature, what kind of a person are you? And not focusing on just the negative, for me, not seeing the fat butt and the fat belly and thinking I'm a failure, but looking inside and thinking about all the good things. All right. So that positive self-talk has to be practiced because we're not used to doing that.
No.
Let's see. What else does she say here? So before you can begin to use positive self-talk, you need to first identify how often and what type of negative thinking self-talk that you already engage in. So you have to acknowledge that. And that's going to be hard because we do it automatically. So you have to recognize it and stop it. You have to go, aha, I just was mean to myself there. Because you wouldn't say that to a friend. You wouldn't say, oh my gosh, Carol, your belly is disgusting. You wouldn't say that to a friend. And so you shouldn't say it to yourself. So some negative things that we do, it falls into one of 4 categories. Personalizing, meaning you blame yourself when things go wrong. Okay. And I'm not saying that everybody does all of these. This is just sort of the 4 categories of negative self-talk. So you blame yourself. Polarizing, meaning you only see things as good or bad, And there's no gray areas and there's no middle ground. And conversely, there's no room for improvement. So it goes back to that mindset, probably a fixed mindset where you're either this or you're that, and there's no changing. Okay, so that's negative self-talk. Magnifying, meaning you only focus on the bad or negative in every scenario and dismiss everything good or positive. So you make that bad thing bigger, like my hands in the screen here. They're only this big, really. They're only this big. You make them like that. So magnifying the bad. And then catastrophizing. Yeah, that's what it says. Meaning you always expect the worst. Anybody feel like that? Anybody ever on the doom and gloom side more than the happy side? I think
yes, when it's, go ahead, Mary.
No, me. No, I'm.
Yeah. Oh,
I can see the worst before I can see the better.
Yeah.
It takes a while, but I've been in therapy for like 35 years, on and off.
So you know all the tricks. You're just working on applying them.
And yes, I'm working on applying them.
And I think maybe it's a lifelong venture, right? It doesn't happen overnight, and you might revert back to your old ways because that's all we know, or that's what we have come to learn. I think I've had, I never had self-esteem as a child. I didn't grow up with it. So I think we always kind of go back to where we came from, and that's in our soul somewhere, right? In our heart. It's like, I'm not good enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. It's all still there. We just have to find a way to overcome it. If that's what you're saying by therapy and telling yourself you really are that good person. So
I think you have to actively work on it until you believe it, until it is there and that the rest of it's been pushed aside. And
so when does that happen?
I don't know. Do we need some cathartic, experience to make that happen? I don't know. I've always been a glass half full kind of person. I don't see the bad side. I see the best first. But that doesn't mean that I don't have negative self-talk, because I do. And I need to recognize that. And for me, a lot of it is physical. When I was growing up, it was, I wasn't a popular kid because I was very introverted. I was very shy until I got to know people. And so
back up. When were you shy?
Most of my life until you know what it was? I got into theater when I was a junior in high school, and I found that I was good at it. So when I got on stage and I could be somebody different, and I could be that somebody different really well and get applause for it, that kind of changed. And I had my first boyfriend ever. And after all that happened to me, I don't know if he was jealous or if there was actually a change in me where I became sort of a different person. I was still the same person, but I just had that little bit more of confidence because I found that thing that I could do well and felt good about myself. Maybe I got a little too big in the britches at that point, but theater gave me a way to express myself and be out there. But I'm always still that little kid inside who doesn't think I'm worth talking to, and I don't feel like I have anything to offer. Having a conversation with somebody new, you meet somebody at a party, it's like, I always think I don't have enough to say. So for me, it's more like I'm not one of the popular kids and I can't do this. That's what comes back in my negative self-talk. But I don't know why I can do this. I don't know why I can talk on Zoom to people because I'm not getting that, somebody looking at me like, giving me any kind of negative feedback. I just noticed there are people watching. Anita's watching. Good morning, Anita. Kathy was watching. I don't know if she's still there. Let's see.
Is that my job? Am I supposed to be looking?
No.
Okay.
Kathy says, you are beautiful, Michelle.
Oh, Kathy.
And Anita says, you are so pretty. So I don't know when these comments were. They were back a while. And so Only one of them is watching. Probably Anita's still watching because Kathy's probably out, gallivanting.
I know. But thank you, both of you. I feel better today now for at least 5 minutes.
I don't know why I missed all of that. Okay. So yeah, like that negative self-talk can have a real devastating effect on us, right?
Yes.
So now they say you can make the switch with these strategies. So identifying self-talk traps. So that is certain situations may cause us to indulge more in that negative self-talk. For example, an introvert might find negative self-talk crops up when they have to attend social events or networking. I just said that, right? That's me.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know what to say. So identifying those self-traps might help you to be more prepared in advance. So if you're going to a party, write a list of open-ended questions that you can talk about or something. I don't know. I should take that advice. Number 2, utilize positive affirmations. So before a situation arises that might incite negative self-talk, practice positive affirmations in the mirror to encourage your positive approach to yourself, which reminds me of those, was it Jack Handy from Saturday Night Live many, many years ago, where he was, I don't know if he was a social therapist. It was just a gag thing on Saturday Night Live.
John Candy? Did you say Jack
No,
Candy?
it was Jack Handy. It was like
Jack Candy.
quotes by Jack Handy or something, and it was all I am worth it, or I am good, or I think back to The Help, where the caregiver said to the child, you is important, you is smart, you is kind, you is smart, you is kind, you is important, and that's true. We need but we need to be the ones telling ourselves that, not hearing it from other people. Because
we shouldn't have to hear it from other people, right?
Right.
That should be our goal, to hear it.
Right. And just like you were waiting for somebody to tell you, you look good.
Yeah.
You need to tell yourself and be confident in that and say, damn, I look good today. Right. And he's missing out if he doesn't think so. I think the other part of that is we always have to understand that other people have their own baggage.
Right.
And depending on their level of self-esteem will determine whether they're willing to give of themselves to you to give you what you need. So you got to look for somebody who's, on the mental health situation, at least equal to you, so that you can give and take.
How about if I just bring you on my dates, Linda?
All right. I'll sit there and I'll just be watching it. Now you should say.
Yes.
You should say.
Yes. I would love that.
Be awkward. Number 3, check in with your emotions regularly. So switching to positive self-talk takes effort. We're really attuned to negative self-talk, so it might only take 1 or 2 minor setbacks to put you down that path again. So when challenges do arise, make sure you check in with how you're feeling and that your self-talk hasn't gotten negative. So I think that's tough. You have to really listen to what you're saying and listening to that voice. And am I being negative with myself? And if I am, then I have to turn it around and I have to acknowledge that I'm still a growing, learning person. Everybody's always evolving. There's no one who's got it all figured out, no matter how they appear to be to you as an outsider. Everybody is dealing with that self-conflict in who they are and how they appear to the outside world and who they want to be.
Yes.
This morning I had a lovely session on my patio, which I haven't done this in a while. It's been a little chilly, but I took my journal out. I got my gratitude journal, which is often a prayer book for me. Instead of, I say my prayers at night, but it feels more concrete if I can write what I'm feeling and thinking and talk to God right here. And I actually made a plan going forward, like acknowledging the things that weren't working in my life. And here are some things that I think are going to take a positive step to make things better for me. And I think checking in with yourself and doing that and acknowledging what is working, what isn't working, but always ending with the positive that, okay, I've got a lot to offer and here's what it is. And doing that positive self-talk for yourself.
And I think even if you hear it from other people over and over and over again, and I'm going back to like models and beauty queens, right, that hear it every single day, but never, ever believe it in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hear it all day long, but if you don't believe it yourself, it goes nowhere, right? I mean, you're still that same person.
Because what you hear is, oh, they think I'm this.
Right.
They don't know about this because I kept it hidden, you know?
Right. Yes. Are we close? I don't even know what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. I just heard a ring at my front door, but I think I'm getting a package. Maybe it's finally one of my oil boxes because they're so delayed this month.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4 is don't be afraid to create boundaries. And we talked a little bit about this, that negative influence in your life. You want to get rid of those, right? So sometimes there are people in our lives who just they don't bring out the best in us, right? And they maybe they're those people that make you think those negative thoughts about yourself. So it's okay to create those boundaries. You don't have to cut people off completely, but don't make them an integral part of your life where you're depending on them all the time when they are that negative influence. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. All right. And let's see. I have another graphic I will share with you. I just want to make sure I have it at the ready. Oxygen mask. We saw that one. Boy, I have to rifle through a bunch of these things to see anything. And now I just lost everything. All right. Okay. Here we go. I got it. Uh-oh. My screen is just like, everything's moving around really fast. All right. Share screen. Here's something about positive. 3 ways to talk yourself up. So this is that changing that direction. Listen to what you are saying. So first, notice that you're doing that negative self-talk, right? And it says each day make notes on what you're thinking. And I think that's like, if you really want to improve this, you want to track those thoughts. What are you saying to yourself? And then now you have some fuel for how to combat that with positive talk, right? Number 2, challenge your self-talk. Is there any actual evidence for what you're thinking? What would I say if a friend were in a similar situation? And can I do anything to change what I'm feeling bad about? Right? So talk to yourself like you would a friend, right? Look for the good and pump that up. And then 3, change that self-talk. So listen to it, challenge it, and change it. Make a list of the positive things about yourself. And instead of saying, I'll never be able to do this, try, is there anything I can do that will help me do this? Okay. Or one of the things that we used to say in school was, instead of saying, I can't do this, you say, I can't do this yet. And leave that, leave it open, that possibility of, yes, but I can get there, right? I can't do this yet. And I think that also goes, the other saying we used to do was, instead of saying, do I have to do the laundry? You say, I get to do the laundry because I have a washing machine that works, because I like clean clothes. And when I do the laundry, I get to wear my favorite shirt again, or my favorite nightgown, or whatever it is. And changing that idea of get rid of that negative, not that you have to do anything, but you get to do that thing. And the fact that I get to do my laundry because I have 2 good working arms and 2 good working legs, and I'm healthy and I can do my laundry and I don't need somebody to do it for me. Change that perspective to be positive. There. That's what I say. So there's just so many things. And I think it starts with just loving yourself, which is the whole theme of this whole series that we're doing. And just love yourself and acknowledge when you feel bad, acknowledge when you acknowledge that negative self-talk and switch it around, right? And reach out to people. I have a checklist. So I will post all of the websites that I looked at, and by no means is that a be all end all list. There's so much out there for positive self-love. In fact, I printed something. I found a website that talked about it's positive psychology, 3 self-compassion exercises. And I got it for free because I gave them my email, but don't know if I would do it again. I haven't had a chance to look at it. So I will look and see if there's something. It's very fine print too. So I don't have time to go through it now, but I will look at this and I will post any additional information in the comments below. If you were watching this on Linda Loves Lab Zoom page and you need something, at the top of the page is a link that you can fill out to request any materials, links, anything you missed. But in Living Well and Wise, I will post the links for all of this, including this checklist for mental health and loving yourself, which I stole a lot of this, but I stole it from multiple sites because there was a couple sites, 21 things you can do, 22 things you can do, 7 main things you should do. And I kind of put them all together and added a couple of my own. So number 1 is put yourself first. After all, you should be the most important person to you. So there you go. Final thoughts, ladies? I'd love your insights.
Yes, I think it was really, it was my pep talk I needed to hear today after last night. It just came at the right time. And you know how things pop into your life at the right time. And this was a good pop in for me. So
good.
Thank you for all of that. Honestly, it really opened my mind, and I am the biggest self-doubter out there. And I think, again, it comes from years of not having the best self-esteem. And it's either you turn it around. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to talk you out of it except for yourself. Right.
Right.
The big critic in the room.
Yeah. Cause you have to fight that first. And no matter how much good advice you get from other people, if you don't believe it, if you don't get rid of that self-doubt and that negative self-talk, it's not going to get through. You gotta turn yourself around and saying, yeah, I'm worthwhile. If they don't like me, it's their problem. And truly it is, because they're going through their own baggage. And so they, how many times have you seen that, and maybe this is a TV theme or something, or movie theme, where person A doesn't like person B because they're jealous of that person.
Right.
That they recognize all the amazing things about that person. And so I can't be friends with them because that just makes me look bad.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And so you can't depend on other people to feed your ego. You've got to do it yourself.
Yes. And can I ask Mary a question? Not to put you on the spot, Mary, but is this, because I've never done therapy, and I commend you for doing it, but is this a lot of what you do here and learn in therapy?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it is. It brought back a lot of, I haven't been going 35 years constantly, back and forth. But I always go back because they reinforce all these points. Yeah. And I also had 0, probably negative self-esteem my entire, life, practically. Yeah. At least half of my life. So, and I'm still learning. Yeah. You never can finish learning, because something triggers and you go right back to when you were 4 years old and whatever, Yes. And those feelings come up and it's like, oh, shoot.
Right. I know.
I thought I got over that, but I don't know. You just.
It's the constant pep talk, right? Like you would give to somebody else. Again, we kind of skip out on ourselves where it has to start, I think. So
yes. I always tell people I'm very good at giving advice.
Yeah.
But when I talk to someone, like my close friends,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden I'll say, I don't know if I'm talking to you or me, because it's like,
Right.
or maybe
Yes.
both of us, or
Yeah,
maybe I'm talking to both of
exactly.
you, because I
Right.
could do all this too,
I know. I need to listen to me, right?
Yes.
What I'm saying to somebody else. So
Yep.
that's so true.
Mm.
All right, Linda. We were talking amongst ourselves.
No, that's no, that's what we do, right? We share and we commiserate, or we agree and we say, yeah, I'm doing that too. And that makes us feel like humans, and that makes feels worthwhile, right. And like we're not the biggest loser in the world, because everybody feels like this. Everybody feels, has that negative self-talk and that doubt and all of that. So
right.
You made me realize something that maybe I've realized before, but it kind of hit the nail on the head, because you said, well, when were you shy? And I realized that, as I said, when I got involved with theater and I found something that I did and I could do well, that empowered me. That changed my self-image a lot. Not all the way, but that's something that I can go back to and say, hey, when I'm feeling bad, I'm going to sing because I know I can sing really well.
Yes, you can.
Find those things that, that you're good at, that can feed that positive self-talk and your self-esteem and your self-image. So,
yeah. Nail on the head right there.
But I think the biggest takeaway is that we all do this. We all go through this, and no one is perfect, no matter how beautiful or perfect their life looks on social media.
Right.
We all have the same struggles, the same self-doubts, and even just to a little bit, everybody has that little negative self-esteem issue that some people are really good at overcoming and seeing the bright side and putting their best face forward, and other people are still working on it. But it's a lifelong journey. No one's ever perfect. I think even the most perfect person that you could think of still has a journey.
Right.
In some
yes. Yeah. And I think everybody, I'm guilty of following women on Instagram that have the perfect lives, the perfect homes, the perfect kids, the perfect life, the perfect dogs. Everything is perfect, right? Mm-hmm. And there's one I followed for quite a while now, even though I didn't even know what an influencer was on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But she's one of them that sells products, right? Through her stories or whatever. Anyway, she just seemed like I'm like, why can't I be like her? She's got everything, the perfect hair, the perfect skin, everything that I thought I don't have inside me or outside me. So anyway, one day she started talking about her mom and started crying, her mom is in her early 50s and has early onset of Alzheimer's. And it's like, okay, now all of a sudden I can relate to you because you're human, right? Until this point, you were like Supergirl and had nothing going wrong, except now I know that it's not perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. So it's just interesting how you can put yourself in such a horrible place until you hear that they are human too. And then it all kind of, it's okay then, I guess. I don't even know if is that the right word? Not that you want them to have something going wrong, but what
it humanizes them instead of putting them as an idol in your life, right?
Correct. That's a good way to
idolize people. You want to humanize people. And when people are vulnerable like that and share something from the heart or something, that's really real instead of the artificial, makings that we surround ourselves with, that makes you relatable. And that's how you get to know somebody really well, is when they put themselves on the line and say, this is who I am, and this is the crap that's in my life, and I need help just as much as the next person, right?
Right. Yeah. We are just all human, right? We all have those feelings, like you said. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside or how you act.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay.
Well, I think we've exhausted this topic. Not really. I think we just hit it on, we just touched the tip of the iceberg, but there's so much there. But,
Mary and I just had free therapy, so it's okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully everybody watches.
Yes, hopefully. And if you do watch, please, leave us some comments, whether it's wherever you're viewing this from. Let us know your thoughts, and also let us know the direction you'd like us to go on Zaturday Zoom. We have Kathy will be back next week. We have decided that we're really going to focus on health and wellness, and natural health and wellness as much as we can, but health and wellness, because we don't address that enough, that, in all ways we have room to grow. So if there's a topic you want to see, let us know, put it in the comments, let us know what you need, and we will do some research and we'll address it and we'll have a conversation. And we hope you all join us. I love Mary comes on every week. Michelle, hopefully this won't be your only time jumping in with us.
It better not be. I'm gonna be telling myself I need to do this in my mirror. My self-talk. Yes.
Yes. I have a great time. This is one of the things I'm going to make some changes in my life on social media, but this is one of the things that I feel like I can make a difference in some small way and get people talking about different things that
you just did for me. So I appreciate it so much. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
I'm going to cry now. So I'm going to go and use the bathroom. So thanks for joining us, everybody. I love you all.
Bye, Mary.
And we'll
Bye.
see you
Nice meeting you.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.